I think I think we're good. I think we're good. Are we good? Hey. Okay. Okay. We're good. We're live. Perf. Awesome. How's everyone doing? Sorry, these scheduled live streams work a little bit differently, and the last time I did it, I messed it up. So that's why I was making sure that I had everything ready and making sure I was doing things, and then it just took a few seconds for everything to, you know, get going and moving. But we're here. We're live. Yeah, we're live right now. How's everyone doing today on this fabulous Saturday on the start of the end of the year? Typically not my favoriteest time of the year. But, you know, we're going to just keep enjoying it because we've got some exciting stuff coming out next year and exciting stuff to talk about for tomorrow. This is a dual themed, so I was going to just do the discussion on the two movie graphic reveals, but then I realized that that would be like 20-30 minutes. And I felt like maybe, you know, talking about graphic reveals, but then okay, I'm just making sure because now OBS is saying that I'm not live, but I'm I'm live. I mean, YouTube has me live, so right. I'm gonna check my phone. I'm sorry, everyone. I just want to make sure that we're actually everything's working. Yeah, it says I'm live. Okay, I'm just making sure because now OBS is saying that I'm not live, but there we go. We're live. Yeah. So we're talking about my top 5 wish lists if there is going to be a reveal at Godzilla Fest, which I will note that idea came from. I want to make sure. I'm going to verify myself once again on here. I'm going to go to Instagram because I'm not logged in um, on my PC. It just does not want to let me log in. I believe. Ooh, and it's gone. There was a vote the other day. Let me check my screenshots. I sent it to my good friend Adam because I was like, oh, I didn't realize that this was a thing. And now I can't find it. I know I sent it to him. Where's it at? I want to verify. Where's it at? I can't find it. Okay, so basically, I guess I won't credit, but it didn't come from me. One of the other channels, someone on Instagram and on Facebook made a poll, basically stating like, hey, if there's gonna, what do you think the reveal for Tamashii for SH MonsterArts is gonna be at Godzilla Fest? It comes from somewhere reliable. Hey, Sans, how's it going? And it was kind of just like, whoa, I didn't realize that this was a thing. Wait. I can find it. Just a second. I've almost got it. Where's it at? Maybe. Maybe it's gone. Am I insane? Did I just think it up? Huh. Where was it? Someone posted a poll. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so, hey, honey, how's it going? Oh, yes, you're going to be on your break. So it was. So the Articulation series, a pretty reliable source for MonsterArts news and insight, did post, and I'm sure it was just like a suggestion. I'm sure they're not saying anything flat out because they probably don't know. As much as they are a source, they're not directly, I don't believe, directly affiliated with MonsterArts completely, or Tamashii. Posted a poll, which I don't have the screenshot of what was actually on there. I'm pretty sure I remember the 4 options. But asking about if there was a reveal at, Godzilla Fest for Tamashii for SH Monsters, what would you be most excited for? I know Godzilla 75 was on there. And there was 3 other, I can't remember the 3 other choices. I should have taken a screenshot just so I had it for it. But then I was like, well, why? So we typically don't get a Tamashii reveal during these Godzilla Fests. Last year we were supposed to get Burning Godzilla the 70th anniversary Burning Godzilla was supposed to be revealed, and then They didn't do it. Something happened. Obviously, didn't come out till July, so maybe that's why they didn't want to show it off. They were like, it's too early. Um, it is how it is. So maybe something this year. So then that got me thinking. Then it's like, well, if he's posting this, and other people are kind of doing a little whispers, maybe there is a chance. Maybe there's something that I don't know that's being whispered behind the people that are more in the know than I am. Obviously not confirming anything, but they might just have an idea. So I've seen, same thing with X, with some of the Japanese collectors. I've seen them talking about a reveal. So, or suggesting or assuming or hoping for a reveal. So that birthed the idea of my top 5 wish list. Now I don't have any photos of anything brought up. It's just going to be more discussion. And I'll grab, Google images once we actually get to that section. That will be the last half. Oh man, 7 minutes into this stream already. Whoopsies. God, my baby. I hope it stands. Larissa, how are you guys doing today? How you doing? How you doing, honey? You doing good? Is work good? Got 2 people watching. Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay. So let's talk about the reveals, the guaranteed things. These were obviously 100% getting. These are the things I want to talk about first, and then we can talk about the what ifs or the maybes or the who's and the ha's. We can do that secondary. So we'll start out with 54. We'll just go in chronological order. The poster color movie monster series. Or not poster color, excuse me. The movie graphic line, MonsterArts subline, Godzilla 1954. There's no extra text. It's just Godzilla 1954 movie graphic. It looks awesome. Okay. This isn't like a new product. It's not like we didn't know this was coming. I do like how large these are, even though they look cheap. Something that I fear, these better not be in the box. This should not, hopefully these are not the box. Hopefully this will be something separately that's printed out and put in, something that's already like a cutout, and hopefully it is not the box itself. So if it's the box itself, that's a huge L. But now we're getting the promo photos. So if you guys remember the in-hand photos at SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, the first time we actually got like a full view at this figure, we did see when the movie graphic line was announced, we did see that 54 and 2014 were next. They were in the photo. They were just super, super blurred and kind of like put in the background. Now, obviously, we got the full hands. So this figure looks like it's a little bit, it looks like it's going to be the darkest of the 54s out of the the regular black and white. I came into the stream being like, I'm not going to take an edible, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to do anything. We're going to do this sober so we can do this super professionally and super like, fancy like, and everything else in its mother is happening right now. I've got dog hair in my mouth. Me and Adam were having a conversation before this, and I just couldn't articulate what I was trying to say properly. But yeah. So 54. The main difference with this, I believe, this is either one of two things. It's either translucent dorsal plates, or they're pearlescent. Now, from the looks of this, they look pearlescent to me. So they're going to be painted like SHMA. And they might even be translucent under it with the pearlescent paint on top of it. That really gives it that kind of like shine, that glow look. So it's a factor of one of the three. It's either translucent plates, probably not. They don't look at least like they look translucent, but they look painted over. So the likely thing is these are probably translucent dorsal plates painted with pearlescent paint over it. So it's going to look, I would assume it's going to look to the same way that the SHMA looks. That would be my guess, or even the Heat Ray -1. I really like it. It's basically just an atomic breath charged version. That's basically what this is. It's the poster, the 70th anniversary poster color version. This guy. But the regular black and white coloring. I think it works really well. I think it looks nice. QC wise, the last time 54 got reissued, the eyes were mostly okay on most copies. So hopefully they continue the trend that we've seen with the last few releases with an update on quality, quality control. So hopefully within the next few years, eye issues, teeth paint will be a thing of the past. Hopefully. This is my favorite shot of the promo photos right here. Something about this pose just gets me going. I love it. I like the, oh man, I just like the colors. The one thing that we do know that's probably going to be a widespread, hopefully not, but you know, might be, is a QC issue here at the mouth. We've been seeing it have a lot of basically like Joker paint. Is kind of how it looked to me. Go MonsterArts SDCC 2025 display. We'll bring the photos up because I have to go through a ton of things on my images to find it. So let's see if we can find that photo. There's the 2014. Ah, there he is. Oh, please don't be. It's a big photo. This shouldn't be this poopy. This is articulation series photos, but you can kind of see here. Where's the zoom in? Oh, nice. Okay, so he's zooming in. You can see he's got lipstick, and not good either. It looks like he. Oh, and see here they look more translucent, so they probably are translucent, with maybe some pearlescent paint painted on top of them. Yeah, here they're definitely translucent. You can see that pretty clearly. But you can see he has lipstick, and a lot of it, and it doesn't look the greatest. I don't mind the look because, like I said, it looks like it's just supposed to be the black and white version of the poster color version, which is the Spitfire Heat Ray version, but he doesn't come with that because this line doesn't come with accessories besides the poster graphic, paper, cardboard, whatever it is. But as we can see here, there's like a lipstick on it. Hopefully it doesn't look like that when it comes out. Of course, you know, being realistic is part of the game, so we'll see, but hopefully not. Hopefully they can make it look a bit prettier, or just not have that issue at all, like the promo, because the promo doesn't have it at all. The white's only in the mouth, you know, like under the teeth, you know, on the inside, on the roof, and on the tongue. So hopefully we can get that. This gives us a very good look at those dorsal plates. I think these are pretty. They're gonna it's got like a Christmas look vibe. It's got like a frosted vibe. You know, I like it. I like the line, like the highlights of it. Although you can see that the charge actually stops in the middle of the tail. I wonder if that's, I gotta watch 54 again to see if that's accurate. It's a good photo. I like this one as well. This one's probably the photo I should have opened up about the mouth paint. Here you can see it's not terribly like out of control. You know, it's a little bit right there, but otherwise it's not bad. I really, really like this look. If we could get this on every copy, good. You know, because this is a reissue. There should be, you know, being honest and not, you know, dishing to Tamashii as much as I praise them as well. It shouldn't be an issue. It really shouldn't. I know this is factory painted, or it's in a very quick assembly line painted, so it's normally probably just a spray in the mouth. But this is something they should be easily able to control. Same thing with joint quality, looseness / tightness. So this is like the 8th or 9th time this figure has been in the factory through and through. So hopefully it's not a mess. Okay. It shouldn't be. I shouldn't have to say hopefully. I should just be able to say this won't be a mess. This figure will come out great. Now the 70th anniversary poster color version did turn out really, really well. Overall, a very positive release, I think, across the community for people who bought it and the people that didn't buy it. So, you know, I think it's going to follow that line. I think that display copy was just kind of an oopsie. So, you know, they should have chose a better one. But, I mean, if that's going to be the one bad QC one in the pool, and it's the one that they choose to display and the rest are fine, then, well, win-win. Here's the movie graphic. As you can see, it does look a little cheap. We'll see how it is in person, though. We will see. So that's kind of 54. Oh, shoot. Did I close that all the way out? No, I didn't. We'll go over this. So this is the information directly from Tamashii Web JP. They're talking about it. Godzilla is back in the Movie Graphic Plus series. That's what the translation is. But so it's Godzilla. It's 11,000 yen, including the 10% tax for Japan. So this is the Japanese price, 1,100 yen. It is a retail release. Pre-orders open on the 7th. Release date is April 2026. So right after Megagearus. Time to go enjoy the 5 p.m. rest. Yes, honey. I hope you had a good break. Thanks for stopping in and watching the live stream a little bit. I love you, and I will see you at home. We'll be done with the live stream by that time, and I'll get Tater out too. So I love you, honey. Everyone say bye to Larissa. Thanks for joining. I always love seeing you here, honey. Have fun at work. Hopefully that rush will make the next hour and a half go very, very fast. Yeah, so retail November 7th. So it'll be like November 7th at... so it'll be Thursday night, Friday morning, depending on time zone. Typically for me, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning. So and April 26th, so right after Megagearus. MSRP, I would assume that this will probably be following 89, which I do also have an update on the MSRPs. I know a lot of people have been saying there was a huge jump in price in MonsterArts, and it is true. And I do have the answer for that, but I also, while having an answer for that, a pretty obvious answer that I assumed anyways, but got reconciled as well. Articulation Series mentioned it. The MSRP for this is probably going to be $134, just like Godzilla 1989. Why is it that much more expensive? So the currency conversion, yen is still lower than the dollar by quite a bit, I believe. I haven't actually really checked it, but when I do currency conversions, it seems to still be kind of in that range, even though the dollar, I feel like, is dropping. The reason why these are more expensive this year than last year is two things. One, last year around this time, we were notified by Tamashii that everything that they released this year moving forward is basically getting a permanent price increase due to cost, manufacturing, all of that things. We were warned about this last year. But the other thing is, every release since Legion was announced, or right around Legion's announcement. Well, okay, no. So Legion's US announcement was later. Godzilla 2000's announcement was later. So basically, once the tariffs came around the first time at the end of April, beginning of May, what US retailers have been doing for Tamashii products, and it's been in and out, is that the MSRP has the tariff mostly built into it. Bandai is eating the cost. Not all of it, but some of it. They are eating some of the cost. So that's why these jumped up. It's why the movie graphic line releases were supposed to be the cheapest releases in the line, because they're just reissues of old figures with no no updates and no like super meaningful updates, I should say. Once we get to 2014, I'll talk about, I think there has been some changes to 2014. Nothing major. But there definitely has been something done to 2014's neck. And the shoulders, which was expected. But so basically the tariff price is in. So typically, if this was last year, this would probably only be like 100, the 70th anniversary, I believe, was 110, 114. That's what this would have been if it was last year, if we didn't have tariffs. The reason why it's 100, it's probably going to be 130 or 140, is because of tariffs. They're adding that tariff cost into it. It's why when I paid for Legion the other day, SH MonsterArts Legion, I didn't pay a tariff on it from Amazon. Amazon's not eating all of the tariffs, and Bandai's not eating all the tariffs. It's just that cost is built into the MSRP. It's why Legion's MSRP was so drastically different, and why Megagearus's MSRP compared to the yen conversion rate is so drastic and so different is because the tariff is built into it. It's why, if you're like me and you're doing the math on what is financially smarter to do, they end up being the same price, basically. The Japanese import normally ends up being a little bit more expensive because you typically want to assume the high end of shipping and not the low end. Typically, I like to add a little bit extra. So, like, even if I go to Hobby Genki, which gives you the shipping cost, the estimate, I typically assume a little bit higher just to be safer. Same thing, tariff and the handling charge. I kind of throw that in there, but it ends up being about the same. Sometimes the Japanese is like $10-$20 more, but then you're getting it a month or two early. You are guaranteed to get that product, for the most part in March. Well, you'll get it in May, but it'll release and start processing in March, where these US releases have kind of been like, some of them are a month behind, some of them are 2 months, some of them are 2.5 to 3 months, and then it depends on where you're getting it in the US. Amazon typically gets things last, but yet Legion, it got it with everything else. They're still waiting for their 2000s. What came out this year that was really late? SHMA was really late. SHMA was what, January or February? We didn't get SHMA from Amazon until April, So, because I didn't get mine till basically the end of May. So, there's obviously little things like that. But that's why when the MSRP is announced for these, probably on, so these drop, basically Friday. They've been pretty good at dropping the US releases on the same day for the generals, at least. So, like 8th, 9th, 10, I would believe BBTS, Amazon will probably have their pre-orders up. So we'll hopefully see this MSRP pretty quickly. That's typically when I wait to do these reveal streams, because I like to be able to have the MSRP rate and, be able to show you guys where to pre-order it. Because I do personally recommend pre-ordering from the US. Don't pre-order from Japan. Don't import it. Pay it here. Buy it from Beast of the East. Buy it from E-Night Media. Buy it from the US shops. Not that I don't want to support the Japanese importing shops, but it's too random. You can't guarantee that it's going to be that price. You can't guarantee anything about the tariffs. You can't guarantee anything about that. So it's at least a little bit more manageable to do it from, Beast of the East, BBTS, Amazon, E-Night Media, Kaiju Live, if they're getting them in, which I do believe they've gotten the last few MonsterArts releases, so at least a few of them. So, and then the other thing is, even if the US, if things clear up, in the next few weeks, if they announce that tariffs are, against the Constitution, they have to be taken down immediately, and then they're actually taken down, which they won't be. I don't actually think that U.S. retailers are going to drop the price on these. I think the $130 new rate for the standard releases in the MonsterArts line will become the new standards. I don't think they're going to be like, okay, well, this price was because there was a tariff added in. We're going to drop the price back down to the $110, which was only a $10 increase, from 72 and 91, which were like $92 to $99 retail, So I do think they'll stay at that price regardless. That's a greed thing. Do I blame Tamashii or MonsterArts or Bandai specifically? Not really, because Japan wise, 11,000 yen, these are basically at their standard price, where the US is getting upcharged. So here's the banner for it. I like showing these off. It looks nice. Tamashii really does a nice job on these. I like the just kind of like the blank 54 logo here. I like it. It looks good. What are we thinking? What are you guys thinking about the movie graphics line so far? How many people we got watching? We've got 2 people watching right now. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, guys. What are we thinking about the 54? Son says it's beautiful. Larissa, my girlfriend, said it was pretties. What about everyone else in the chat? What do you guys think of the 54? You guys going to be picking it up? 54 interests you? I will be. Obviously, like I said, I'm getting every new release. the reissues are the only things that I'm probably not going to be getting unless it's something that I don't have. So like Final Wars, I got it because I didn't, I didn't have Final Wars in my collection anymore. The -1 I skipped on because I have the original -1. So, you guys going to be picking up 54? 100% will. We'll be reviewing it. Like I said, it might be the U.S. release. We'll see what kind of happens with importing and tariffs and money and financial situations. Now for the big guy. Now this guy I want to talk about. I want to bring up the photos for 2014. The original 2014. So we're going to the articulation series featuring MonsterArts. This is all the high def photos are here. He's got them all. He gets them directly from Tamashii. They send them to him. So he's got all the high photos. So we're gonna look at the original 2014 really quick because I want to emphasize this, and I'll explain this a little bit on how this works and why I think what I'm thinking. What's a good photo for this? This is probably the photo we're gonna use. If you guys own the original 2014, whether it be the Spitfire, the G-Store exclusive, or this original version, I did at one point own this. So for many, 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 many years. This was actually low-key one of my favorite MonsterArts, even though it did admittingly have a ton of issues. So yeah. We'll bring up the first photos. We'll just kind of talk about it first, and then I'll talk about what I think has happened for a change. So 2014, the infamous 2014, it was kind of when we first saw it as a tease, people raised their eyebrows, and admittingly they had a right to. This is one of the bad apples in the line. This is actually the figure that started a lot of the anti-MonsterArts mindset that is now very loud in the Godzilla collecting community. It starts with 2014. 2014 is the catalyst to all of it. So it is interesting that the fourth figure in this reissue line ends up being oh, that's funny. I can do that in here. I don't even have to click it. Cool. Okay. We're learning new things every day. So it is interesting that they chose to do this. Now, that being said, there has been updates to this mold because this is basically the 2019, 2024, 2021 mold. Okay. The only thing that's different is the tail. And, using my memory, because I did own the 2019 and 2021 figures at the same time as the 2014. So I had the main three. I have covered myself. I want to see the webcam a little bit. There we go. Just going to bring this down a little bit. I can't actually see like the OBS screen, so I'm going off of everything, but I'm trying to see my webcam so when I show these off. It's the same figure at base. Obviously, besides like the dorsal plates. But there's been changes to this sculpt throughout its lifetime that should be here, and I do think some of these photos do prove it. So one of the initial things, the original 2019 that had issues, couldn't move its arms around. People said the same thing about the 2014. 2021 and 2024 come around, and they actually shaved away the joint, so the arms can rotate better. Still not the best, but better. The other thing that they did, and this is more on the 2024 release than the 2021, they shaved away the collar there. I know it's a little dark, I apologize. They shaved around this collar area, right, where the shoulders are at. So they shaved the shoulders, and then they shaved the collars. Oops, sorry, that was Godzilla's tail. I think some of those changes will be here, and I'll show those in the photos. I kind of skipped ahead a little bit. So it's mostly the same figure, but I do think some of those sculpt shavings have gone down. So I don't think the sculpt's actually been like... It's been adjusted. It hasn't been like an actual change. But the first thing I really want to get out of the way is, and I've talked about this, I love the paint on this. I like that it's the darker colors, kind of like this 2014 or 2024. I like the darker colors on the Legendary Goji. I think it looks nice. This looks like it's technically like a final battle version, a decisive battle San Francisco version, where the figure looks like it's the nighttime. This is literally 2014 killing the Muto, the male Muto with the tail. This is the tail swipe pose. Um, I think, well, and you can kind of start seeing what I'm talking about here. What the, due to the changes to the 2014 or the 2019, 2021, 2024 releases, ended up helping this figure. And it's probably going to fix one of the. It's not going to fix, but it's going to make one of the major issues with this figure a little bit more tolerable. Same thing as well. Hopefully the tail isn't just, it's not the most articulated tail to begin with, but hopefully it can at least actually hold itself up, which it originally wasn't able to do. It's basically just a floppy branch. But I love the colors on this. I love the colors on it. I think this is the best this sculpt has ever looked. Yeah, look at that, man. That actually does look pretty sick. Also, a call out to their 2019 figure. The original 2019 one, the promo shots, was basically this pose. So it's funny that they've been going through and making references to other releases and a lot of these newer photos, or they're just referencing other figures. I still say the movie graphic Awakening Shin Godzilla is in the Passion Tank pose, where he's roaring up at the sky. It looks almost exactly like the Awakening Passion Tank. The sculpt of it, the silhouette, even though the molds themselves are completely different, it looks like a reference, where this looks like a reference to the original. Once again, this figure doesn't have accessories, so it's not going to have your claw hands. So that is the other thing I'm hoping for, is that this body tone will match at least one of the other legendary Godzillas, the 2019, 21, or 24, so we can, do a mostly proper hand switch, so you can have those grip, those clawing hands, because the arms are the same. They reused it. But I really do like the dark color. I do like that the belly is not really painted. I just don't care for the the tan belly that is accurate to the model. So they didn't go and adjust the sculpt. So don't I've been saying that since we knew this was coming, even before it was revealed. They're not going to touch like the actual sculpt. They're not going to make it more accurate, at least not in this way, not with the movie graphic line. We'll see if we get like a Decisive Battle version or something a little bit later. Okay, look at this. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the head and the teeth paint. So I did say in the comments that I thought the teeth paint was kind of rough, and kind of looking at it on the PC, it looks not as bad as I thought. I think the top row looks a little goopy. You see some gums there, but the bottom row actually looks really good. And you can't really see the eyes on this 2014 on these promo shots. We don't have that close of a photo, so I can't say what the eyes are going to look like. Once again, we are well enough into the line. This figure is technically 11 years old at this point. There should not be any issues, and I do believe with the regular version, or not the Spitfire and the poster color version, exclusive, is that the eye alignment did get better with those releases, specifically the Spitfire. So hopefully, once again, I shouldn't have to say it, but people are going to bring it up. It's like, why would you buy MonsterArts? The eyes are always bad. You have people be like, they bring up every issue with these figures, but then when we talk about these figures, the people that are, collectors, and we bring up, oh, it doesn't have this issue, they're like, wow, you have to like act like that's an achievement that it doesn't have these issues. I saw some people say that about like the 2000. It's like, oh, you have to say that there's not any issues with the eyes. It's like, well, yeah, because that's part of it. It has been a part of the MonsterArts, and it shouldn't be an issue anymore, especially for reissues like these. Like, these specifically should not have these issues. These aren't for everyone. These are for newer collectors or people who missed out on the line or have sold things in the past. These aren't for it's weird. It's not for the hardcore collectors, but it is at the same time, because if you're a completist like me, obviously I'm still going to get this. I don't have a 2014 in my collection, and I actually don't have a black and white 54 in my collection anymore. So these two were guaranteed for me anyways. But for someone who has the whole line, it's not necessary. You can skip it, or if you just don't like the figures, you can just skip, the release. You don't want to run. You don't want to risk the eye paint and the teeth paint and the limited articulation. Possibly. But I do think, once again, I do think the shoulders are going to be better. This does look like it's the updated mold. You can see there is some gapping. That was in my mind, a necessary consequence to make these shoulders a little bit better and these necks a little bit better. Now here's where I want to bring up everything. Okay, so here's the neck on the movie graphic. Here's the neck on the original. Okay, neck on the original. Oops. Let's try to make this work. Here we go. Same pose. In fact, it's funny. It's the literal exact same pose. We're gonna do this. Ah, damn. Hoping to cut off a little bit of that shoulder. Okay. Do you guys see what I see? So the other night I was going off on Adam at like 4 in the morning, like Sherlock Holmesing this because I couldn't tell with my phone screen. This is the first time I'm actually looking at this comparison on the PC on a larger screen. So as you can see, his head's able to move more. Now, I personally was never able to get my 2014 in this pose anyways. I do think this is a little bit of photo trickery. They're using their angles to make it look like it's articulating more than it is, but that could have just been my copy. But if you look at here, there's clearly extra sculpt, and this was here on their original release. It clearly looks like the neck, it almost looks like the neck can pull out, like the Godzilla 2000, you know, or Megaguirus Goji. I'm not saying this for a fact, because once again, these are supposed to just be blanket reissues, no upgrades, but it looks like it does have that neck pull out method. See, you see it? Boop, put it back in, and then I actually, because mine's a little bit more looser, I end up actually, when I pull the neck out, I normally pull the chest out as well, or the main body. But it looks like, it almost looks like it's under the same, son of a, almost under the same rules. I'm knocking pieces off of my MonsterArts over here. Sorry, guys. The table is completely covered with MonsterArts. I wish I could show you, but I cannot. But I'm dusting, getting ready for Legion, and also changing the positioning and the display of the shelves. So Legion fits a little bit better, and future purchases can fit together. Because I don't know when I'm going to be able to get my glass cabinets. So right now, you know, that's basically all the space I have for my MonsterArts. So I have to maximize it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm dusting and maximizing. But it does look like it either has a pullout, or because of the changes in how the chest has been sculpted, like you can see it, like the shoulders definitely is the shaved shoulders, which means that this is shaved as well, just a little bit. And maybe what they did is they went and shaved the actual, you know, the neck folds. It's like there's all the gills and stuff. I don't know. There does look like there was an attempt to make this figure more articulatable, specifically within the neck, which was like between the eyes and the neck not being able to articulate were kind of like the big complaints with this figure. And it looks like to me that they have gotten it better. The eye positioning looks fine, and the teeth paint, as you can see, it is a little bit sloopier than this, but I mean, like, you know, you look at the original one, and this is definitely not the paint. I don't think there was a single retail copy of this figure that had the painted teeth look that good. So at least this looks closer to probably what the retail version is. In fact, it would not surprise me with these reissue versions if these are the actual retail copies, because these are just reissues. So I do think that there is something different with these sculpts, or not sculpts, but something has been changed. Hi Jody, welcome in. Welcome to the stream. I do think something has been changed. Just slightly altered. I'll say altered, that way it doesn't sound like it's like a change. How are we looking? We're sitting at 2 again. Thanks for joining. We had 3 at some points. Wow. Thank you guys for coming in and supporting the stream. Oops, I did not mean to take that down quite yet. There we go. Okay, so here's the movie graphic. Once again, hopefully these are at least a semi-nice looking piece of paper. I would say the edges is not specifically exciting, but, you know, they're nice. 2026 Legendary, all right. It looks good. It's the Japanese posters. Once again, Hopefully these aren't like push outs from the box. We don't damage the box at all. Hopefully this is like just like how the instruction sheets are sometimes. It's just like an extra sheet of paper or whatever material this is. That's then put in the box as an extra. Okay? Okay. Perfect. I think that's kind of it with my movie graphic reveals. How's everyone feeling on the 2014 and the 54? You guys going to be picking it up? You guys pre-ordering? You guys skipping? There's obviously nothing wrong with that. If you want to skip, I think these were really good releases. This will help people that don't buy every release. They get the releases that they really want. I think this will make it easier for people who are like, I have to see what the next few releases for before or after Megaguirus. It'll make it easier for people to get Megaguirus because now, basically the next 2 months of the MonsterArts line after Megaguirus is reissues. So if you have a 54 and you don't want one, don't have to get it. If you have the 2014 or you don't like the 2014, don't have to get the 2014. So you don't have to worry about, budgeting out money for those figures. You can skip 2 months of figures and just save everything for Megaguirus and not have to worry, and then save up for whatever comes after Megaguirus. Because it'll probably, whatever the next announcement is, I would venture to assume, not confirming, which moves us into our next topic pretty well. Whatever the next reveal is, whether it's at Godzilla Fest here tomorrow night, or if it's at the end of this month, we probably, well, actually, it's not at the end of the month, it's in the middle of the month. We do have the Tamashii Nations 2025 event happening in a few weeks. So if we don't, that's kind of why the pre-orders for the movie graphics are at a weird spot. They're on the 7th. Instead of being like on the 31st. So there's going to be announcements here this week, and then we're going to get our prototype reveals the 14th, 15th, and 16th from the Tamashii Nations event. Now remember, at the Tamashii Nations event last year, that is where we got revealed that the Godzilla 2000 was happening. Remember? You guys remember that? The breaking news? They told us a big, crazy reveal was coming from MonsterArts, and it was the prototype, the initial prototype of Godzilla 2000. It wasn't the only thing that was announced for MonsterArts. They kind of fibbed to us a little bit, because right after this was shown off, it was revealed that Legion was also coming. That, I believe, Legion's first reveal was at Tamashii Nations last year. I do believe Tamashii Nations event 2024. I believe this is where Legion was revealed firsthand, as well, if I'm not mistaken. Where is that photo? I very clearly remember the photo of this event. Yeah, there it is. That's right. So that's why Legion wasn't a big announcement. They're not. I don't know why the photos are coming in blurry, but that's why Legion wasn't technically a new announcement, because I remember they announced her right before they showed this photo off. They teased Legion beforehand, and then her first prototype reveal was at Tamashii. But it did start with that promo photo, which is funny that they had that promo photo ready, because see, there was 2000, and where's Legion? Where's she at? How is she not like the first thing that's revealed? Am I crazy? Was she not actually at this event? No, there she is. Yeah, there's the photo. This was her full in-house reveal, was Legion. So I'm just saying to y'all, as we get into my top 5 for Godzilla Fest, if Godzilla Fest has nothing, which, once again, I would assume is probably going to be the case, we might see, we do know that on the roster for some of the products that are already currently out, that are going to be for sale, Godzilla 2000 and -1, and I believe Burning Godzilla are all going to be like at the event, because it's near the Godzilla store. They have an actual shop there. They have like a pop-up shop that's there, and they do sell things. Those are the 3 MonsterArts that will be on sale there. For sure, 2000 and minus one. I do remember those. But I do believe Burning Godzilla was on that list. It was Burning Godzilla or it was Final Wars. Um, because a lot of the Godzilla shops themselves, the Godzilla stores in Japan, those are the 3 or 4 that they're carrying. I have heard that Burning Godzilla is starting to get pulled out because it's just they're running out of stock. It's selling very well, so we might see a reissue of Burning Godzilla next year. Might. Oh, that's the other. Okay, so I remember 2 of the options that Articulation series have brought up. It was Godzilla 1975, and the other one was a Godzilla Jr. and Destroya Evolution set together. So Junior and then the 3 Destroya forms. And I just thought that was pretty particular. Which, spoiler alert, is what, like, that's probably the number one thing I would expect. If we are going to get something, it's probably going to be a reissue of some sort. So it would probably be some sort of set that includes Junior and the Evolution set as well. It would be both of them together. So it would be all 3 forms of these guys, this set and Junior. Once again, Articulation series website, all of the credit, these are Tamashii's promo photos, but these are displayed in nice high def quality thanks to the articulationseries.com on their website. This is their website, so thanks to them again for making it very easy to show off these MonsterArts figures that I don't own. So yeah, I would assume that it's Junior in an Evolution set because that's basically the last thing from the Destroy movie that we don't have. And I know some people were saying that it's probably not likely that's going to happen. It will happen. We will get some sort of decisive battle version. Especially, I think the Evolution set more than Junior, because the Evolution set has never been reissued, and it is one of the most expensive sets to buy from MonsterArts. Like, even in Japan, that set is nearing that, like, $250 range. It's really expensive for what it is, okay? Like, that is really goddamn expensive. I don't want to buy it on the aftermarket. We've talked about I want to complete the MonsterArts line eventually. I will have every single release at some point. That the Evolution set is one of the figures I don't look forward to having to go back and buy once, I'm looking at completing everything instead of just making sure I have one of every character, actually going and buying, the Evolution set, both releases of Junior, all 3 releases of Destroya. That's another one I don't look forward to getting. We've got our Decisive Battle version, but then getting the Special Color Edition and the original, expensive. 91, I don't look forward to getting the original one because it's fragile. Stuff like that. Wait, was Mecha King Ghidorah really that far away? Was it really? I don't remember King Ghidorah and Mecha King Ghidorah being that, because the special color version was coming out by the time this one's coming out, but this one's paint scheme matches this Ghidorah more. Odd. And even 64. Man, sometimes I forget, because this is the order of every release. I sometimes forget how crazy it was, because it was super compact in the beginning. 94, 93. I was oddly expecting a con release this year. Okay, hey Adam, by the way. Hey buddy. I do actually have a theory. I don't think we're going to get a reissue for 05 Kong, and I think that's a Universal thing. Because we do know that Universal, it's same thing with 62. Universal is very chokehold on their Kong, their King Kongs, excuse me. Let me make sure that I use the correct naming for these. So I do think, if Universal's not doing anything for it, Tamashii's not going to either. Now, of course, at Tamashii Nations, they could announce that this is getting a reissue, which I would welcome this. This is also one of the releases. I don't actually know if I'm going to get this Kong. I assume it had to do with licensing. Yeah. I would say that that's the safest bet. That it's probably a licensing issue. With Universal probably saying, hey, if you want to do it, it's got to be, $130, $140. Because how much did this retail? It was $64. Man, I remember this. This was a crazy announcement. I remember the whole internet broke up. Yeah, because I believe this was basically It was at this time slot. It was announced like that November in that time, and it was so different because you have Heisei, 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 exclusive Heisei, 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 Destroya, and then Kong, and then Destroy again, and then 64, and then you move up to Kiryu, Biollante, 2000, and then we get our Alien versus Predators. We get Batra, Gigan, Mothra. You know, it's crazy to think of the order of things and how quick these Kiryus came out, but how different, you know, how far the Ghidorahs were placed. You know, 2014 was out. Birth version. When were you? 2014. And then it had one reissue. 2014 to 2011. 3-year difference between these two sculpts. Major upgrades. Major upgrades. I've been kicking myself for the past decade for not picking it up. Yeah. I saw it... Was it 2019 G-Fest? Or... Yeah, it would have had to been 2019 G-Fest, because this was a MonsterArts that sold out. It wasn't like super expensive, but I remember it being like $70-$80. People were trying to upcharge for it. But in 2019 I was at G-Fest and someone had one, and it was like $400 some or $300 some, and someone talked him down, talked the seller down to like 200 or something for it, which was a really good deal back then. I actually don't even know what the aftermarket is on this. I would assume it's just kind of just doesn't exist. Is that correct? Is it just kind of one of those things where it kind of just sat in the expensive category and just never got it didn't necessarily raise in price? Looking at this, by the way, on eBay is not great. Don't ever base your low pricings for aftermarket on eBay. eBay runs really high. 300. So yeah, like 300. I mean, there's almost none. 300, 240 in Japan though, so you're gonna probably pay fees and tariffs. There's a pre-owned one. You know, it's kind of it's actually dropped in price, I feel like. The aftermarket is the 200 range. Not bad, because like I said, I remember in 2019 this was like $300-$400. So the fact that it's dropped that much, let's see, and then there are going to be people that are going to charge that price, but you know, it's just not going to sell. It's not terrible. I mean, I don't know if I want to spend that much on it. Let's look at Mandarake really quick, see what it is, and then we'll move into what my next. This would be fun. I'm not gonna sit here and say that this would not be a fun surprise announcement for a reissue, or probably wouldn't be a reissue. It'd probably get some sort of different one. Damn, super cheap in Japan. Well, Adam, looks like you're gonna get your shot in Japan. Now, yes, that's still double the retail cost of what it initially was, but like, you're basically paying retail for it with currency conversion as long as these are in stock. Now, that's probably the only thing about using Mandarake is these probably, since these are at the bottom of the list, you don't have any idea when these were last in stock. Oh, whoa. Complex actually does have one. Oh, because I did Kong and not King Kong. Okay. And this is a brand new one at Complex. So, you know, there you go. 17,000 yen. So we're looking at, if you're in Japan and you buy it straight from Mandarake, 110. A little bit. Those are long sold out though. Not this one. Not this one. And it's unopened too. So, and the box looks mostly fine. Looks like some just edge wear, some dust. It looks like. It looks, yeah. That end just crumpled. So, but like that's such like a minor crumple, to where like even me, where I like my boxes being in good condition, this isn't bad at all. There you go. Oh snap. Okay, I'm in. Hey Sharktopus, how's it going, buddy? How's it going? But yeah, so Kong's only 17. I don't know if this is gonna stay at Complex. It doesn't say new on here, so it's been here for a while. But yeah, 110. You know, that's pretty damn cheap. Pretty damn cheap. Um, so yeah, that would be fun. It's not gonna hit. Did I miss the wish list? No, we're actually in the wish list. So the wish list is kind of unorganized. The movie graphic releases were pretty organized, but this part isn't. So I'm kind of junior, and I'm kind of unorganized on my wish list part. So basically, the first item, what I think that we're getting is we're getting this. I my wish list from what I want to see is a Junior versus Destroya evolution set figure. I do think this is likely. If we were to see something, I do think that this would be possible. Very likely, really, because it's the last thing we're missing for Destroya. Greetings and salutations. Hey KD, how's it going? How's it going, everyone? Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for hanging out. We have gone over the movie graphic line, so once we're over the wish list for everyone that's kind of joined in late that wanted to talk about 54 in 2014, we'll do like an after party. We'll do an additional conversation. So I'll try to move through the wish list, basically because I'll sum it up again for everyone who's just joining in. I don't expect a Tamashii reveal at Godzilla Fest. Tamashii Nations 2025 is literally in 2 weeks. I do think this is where we're going to see it. But like last year, Legion was teased and revealed right before the event actually went live. So at Tamashii Nations 2024, it wasn't that Legion was revealed as a surprise. It was just the first reveal of the prototype in hand, on display, where Godzilla 2000 was a completely brand new. We did not know this. We did not, that was the big shocker. So I do expect something kind of like that this year for MonsterArts, where we're going to get something revealed, a big surprise right before, which once again could happen during Godzilla Fest. It is possible. It's not likely, but it is possible. And then we're probably going to be getting something insane during Tamashii event, which we'll do a live stream talking about that again, because what I'll probably do for the Tamashii Nations, what I would like to see a wish list, it won't just be Godzilla, it'll be Ultraman as well. In fact, I might even throw some Dragon Ball in there. Now that I hesitate to say that I am almost all in on the 3.0 Dragon Ball figures. I'm almost all in. I do have most of them pre-ordered. I'm waiting for Big Bad Toy Store to get the Legendary Super Saiyan Frieza Battle Goku back in stock for its April reissue, and then I still do need to pre-order the P Bandai exclusive, first transformation Goku. You want an Anguirus repaint? Definitely. I don't think we're going to be getting one anytime soon. Tamashii is not Haya, where they're spitting out repaints that quick for not new media releases. So like -1, obviously they spit out most of their options for -1, but Anguirus is, it's not like Anguirus was in the movie, so they're not going to be throwing Anguirus at us. But I mean, with the sequel announcement probably happening, tomorrow night, if Anguirus is in it, not saying he is or isn't, but if Anguirus is, then Anguirus 2026, would be. But I do think an Anguirus repaint down the line is going to happen. I think they'll do like a 74 or a 68, probably a 74, because I think they will give us the bloody jaw, and then eventually we'll get a 72 re-release with the cut open skull. I think they could do it. They did it with Godzilla. I do think Gigan might eventually, could be soon, because now we're looking at over 2 years that Gigan's been out. We could see like a decisive battle version with like a little bit of blood paint on like the stomach. The Ultraman line will have more versions of Omega and the two monsters that assist him. Yeah, I think for Ultraman, when we get to that live stream, I'll try not to talk about it too much, but I would agree. I think we're going to get the The yellow armor, it starts with a T. I think we'll get the mech kaiju and that armor form, and then I think we'll get the newest form, the Phoenix form, and the Phoenix kaiju. I do think they're gonna do what they kind of do, where they do the first form. You know, we have both the kaiju, we have Reginus and the Reginus armor, and then they're gonna skip the second form, do the third form first, and the third form kaiju, and then they'll go back and do. I think it's like Trigon. I don't know. I'm not gonna try. But I do think the second form is actually gonna get skipped, and then it'll be done later. They do have a precedence of doing that. But my first wish list item for Godzilla Fest announcements is here. It's what if it's going to be something. What it likely will probably be is probably a repaint set. It does make sense that it's Destroya themed. Now, if it's not that, let's just get this out of the way. Let's just so like last year, you know, it didn't come too far back. That's not large enough. Come on, I need a good photo of. Should we just do this? I want a large photo of Awakening, but I don't want to use the movie poster. I know we're getting an Awakening movie graphic, okay? I do. But there is a greedy reason that there's no accessories included with it. I do think in some way, shape, or form we could see a 10th anniversary. So it would be the, you know, what they're kind of doing, a 10th anniversary / 70th anniversary Shin Godzilla release. I could see it being an Awakening, a climax version. Would it be kind of admittingly shitty of them to have two regular colored Awakening Shins on pre-order at the same time? With no Shin bias, absolutely, that would be dumb. I do think we're getting Shin Godzilla something. The other thing that I think it could be, and actually this might be a little bit more, a little bit more realistic for a repaint. Orthochromatic Awakening Shin Godzilla. Nah, it would be. Absolutely, you're right. But remember that Shin Godzilla, unlike everything else, and it's not just Tamashii, Shin Godzilla is the exception to everything. Time and time again, Bandai, Tamashii, X Plus, I think Haya will do it as well. Every company that does a Shin breaks the rules, where typically you don't have multiple of the same incarnation of Godzilla up for pre-order in the same line. Shin Godzilla is a little different. I could see them doing an Awakening orthochromatic Shin Godzilla. What they could do to make it different and make it worth it, although them doing an ortho doesn't quite make sense for the 10th anniversary, but still, hey, there's Rich's photo. That's such a good photo. I think what they could do, it would be an Awakening climax 4th form, and then they can include both the 2nd form and the 3rd form. I think it could be that. I think it could be either another climax version. I think we're getting an anniversary Shin set of some sort. Orthochromatic Awakening with the 2nd or 3rd form, or just the Awakening, or a new Awakening, or even just a new a red. If it's not a new version, let me absolutely 100% make sure that I've got this right. Where are you at, perfect child of mine? There you are. Night Combat. Oh, no. Are you a general release? I believe yes. Okay. So the 4th it says Night Combat version. Oh, fourth form night combat version. Okay, so that's where the summing is. If... Oh, man. It's been a while since I've seen these promos. Let me just eat this up really quick. If it's not ortho or an awakening, I think the possibility we could see Night Combat reissued, just a raw reissue of this figure. I think it's possible because this doesn't have a reissue yet. So this is, if it's not one of them, I could see them being like, hey, we're just doing a general re-release of this, a reissue, a full reissue. I could see them doing this because I could see it because this is a sub line. The movie graphic plus, this is technically a different line, so I could see them being like, oh, see, so there's this one, here's Awakening, and here's its partner figure, the Night Combat version to go with it. I could see them doing that. So I'm not, if there's a Shin reissue, it probably would be that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of go a little bit wilder and they break the rules for Shin because it's Shin's 10th anniversary. Okay, so that's two of them. So basically, if there's going to be something, in fact, I would say this is probably number one, even over Destroya and Junior, a Junior versus Destroya Evolution set. I do think whether it's a fourth Night Combat version, an orthochromatic Awakening, or a second or third form set, we could see that. Okay. So now we're down at 3, and I did have 5 things, but it's kind of changing as we've been kind of talking. I'm a little short on time. Okay, so we're going to try to blow through this quick. I am going to take the Articulation Series suggestion. Because I can't remember the other 2. So I can remember 2 of the 4. The Junior set and 75. I can't remember the 2 that were in between. I believe they were reissues or anniversary figures of some sort. It would be really cool if they were going to do a brand new release starting off the 75 stuff. Specifically, I would hope that they would start with 75 Godzilla. My wish list for new figures would be Megalon and Resculpted 75. G75 would be great. And that's kind of what I'm getting into, is I hope they announce Godzilla. And then at Tamashii Nations, we could get a reveal that they are reworking the Mechagodzilla figure, making it in scale, for the new Showa scale, which is basically the general line scale. They actually fit in with everything. They don't make sense within continuity, but that doesn't matter because all of the Godzillas should make sense with each other. It's just like 2000 is technically 50 or 55 meters, so it should be way smaller with the Showa figures. But I would rather have 2000 be kind of the same size as the other figures, just because it's just kind of like throwing them all together. So hopefully they do 75, and then at Tamashii Nations they can do 75 Mechagodzilla, or a very unlikely choice. I've talked about this many times, but it could be they could do Titanosaurus. Mega Ragoji is number 1 ever want. Yeah, I 75 Godzilla. Seeing as Articulation Series suggested it, he had some suggestions. I think that kind of might be kind of what Tamashi's looking at for the next few months of like interest to see if people want these. I don't think these are gonna. Some of these would actually be like, like I'm not saying that this is coming, or I'm not saying that Articulation Series is saying that this is coming, but I do think Tamashii is putting feelers out. They're putting out feelers, and I do know that they do go to Articulation Series for some, when they want to get feedback from specifically the U.S. side of things, and what we want outside of just the voting polls. G75 would be sweet. I love that cat face. Yeah, I would personally like 74 a little bit more, but I will take 75 if I have to take something, right? Nope, not Discord. Oh God, I don't use Discord anymore, but I keep clicking it. It might not even open. If these guys scale accurate, how much Earth wouldn't exist if they had to be like actually canonically in scale. They would never do Earth. Earth is so you're talking about let's bring him as an example. Godzilla 91. This Godzilla 91 is supposed to be 100 meters flat. So you're talking about Earth, who's 300 plus meters tall. So the figure at base has to be 3 times this height. So 3 of these figures stacked together. So, you know, you're doing 1, 2, oh, wait, here. So this is like a rough estimate. So this is too tall that I'm holding up. So we're talking about Earth would have to be this tall. This is from my desk. So here's the bottom, the floor, desk, 0 meters. So the height of Earth would have to be up here above my head. Mind you, this is like, you know, this is 6-inch figure. So we're talking about 18, 19 inches just in height. Earth is a big old fat chunky Godzilla. So now you have to add the width on there. It would be like a $3,000. I don't know. It would be like $3,000. The main thing with it, it's not even just because it's like the height. It's because of the actual, like, the mass of what this figure would be. Oh my God. Adam, are you still here? Adam, are you still in chat? How the hell did you send this to me on Instagram knowing that I was in live stream and you didn't, like, and you didn't tell me on stream? Super 7 announces their a situation is evolving. They have a Shin Godzilla coming. Breaking news. Wouldn't it be hilarious if they pranked us all and put out a figure of the hippie dude? That'd be funny. That'd probably be a Figuarts though, but that would be hilarious. Holy moly. A Shin Godzilla from Super 7. I'm guessing this is an Ultimates. Well, it doesn't look like it has any articulation. But they start with digital molds, so maybe the joint lines aren't there. Or maybe this is something different. This could be a React, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't matter. He looks angry, though. He doesn't have his emotional stare. He does look kind of angry. I'm all for this. I'm all for this, so... Let me just save this really quick. Super 7 Shin Goji. Say that right to the desk. Okay, cool. Cool. So that's... And I don't think Adam's still in the chat, so I gotta give him a little bit of please lock. Yeah. I gotta I gotta, you know, give him a little bit of ribbon, a little bit, for not letting me know. But that's super cool. So, okay, so we're 3 of 5 down. So I guess I should have stated when doing this wish list, I'm also still trying to be realistic with my choices. So obviously I could go and be like, oh, you know, it could be Kaiser Ghidorah. I don't think they would do Kaiser Ghidorah at Godzilla Fest. Mainly because I think they're not going to... It's kind of like Legion. I don't think they want to be hauling that prototype around. But I do think, because he's been mentioned, I would love Godzilla Earth. I would love Godzilla Earth to get, whether it's Scarlet, they could announce a Scarlet, or it could just be the movie graphic release. I do think Phileas and Earth will both get, well, it'll probably, well, no, it will be both, because Earth is at the end of 2017, but Earth is the main character in the next 2 movies, and Phileas is only in Planet of I should watch Planet of Monsters. Planet of Monsters isn't bad. The other 2 are poopy. But in my opinion, I don't find them very good. But that's just my opinion. It's okay, absolutely understandable if you like them or if you really enjoy them. And maybe I'll feel different after this year's rewatch, because I do actually have to rewatch all the Godzilla movies this year. Again, I watch all of them normally, typically in a marathon at least once a year. So typically, although I normally do skip these films. And if you guys remember last year's disastrous, 70th anniversary movie discussion marathon that didn't finish and is dead, these were two of the last films that I watched, was City on the Edge of Battle and Planet Eater. And I was definitely not the largest fan of them, just to say, just personally speaking. But Planet of Monsters was the one that I really liked, because it just kind of felt like a typical Godzilla film with just kind of like the sci-fi space stuff added in. But I wouldn't be surprised if we either got like a City on the Edge of Battle, Mechagodzilla City Decisive Battle, Scarlet Burning Godzilla, whatever this form's called. I believe it's Scarlet specifically. And then or if like a movie graphic announcement for Earth or Phileas came out. Hopefully they would do Earth first, because when I'm being realistic, I'm thinking it's probably going to be more reissues, because that's something that Tamashii can make on the assembly line as a retail release and then just give to them and be like, here you go. It's not something like a prototype like Kaiser, in theory, or Orga, or 75, where you have to be careful with it because it's a prototype. It's resin. It's basically just glued together. Is a cinematic masterpiece that was just too complex for us to understand. We can agree to disagree. We can. Or like, we can agree to disagree, 100%, and that's a-okay. It's specifically City on the Edge of Battle. Just not my. Does not land very well for me. A lot of cool ideas. The ideas and theories are really good, but the execution, I guess, is what I should say. The execution for film 2 and 3 are what I don't like. I do like a lot of the concepts for the most part, although I think some of it was just there so they could be lazy with the action, not with the effects. I will say visually, even though Earth doesn't move around a lot, like this scene with Scarlet is beautiful. So, not having a Godzilla that's super mobile, not having a Mechagodzilla that also is mobile, or that design that they, the official design for it. Like, how the hell would you animate that? So I do understand. Now, I don't disagree. I haven't fully watched the entire anime movies. Okay. So I do understand, like, realistically, like, kind of had to do that. But at the same time, it's like, I would have rather it look a little less fancy and had some just fighting rather than him just sitting in a city in a pit. And then him fighting a ghost, basically, that moves slow. Did have cool ideas that just never went anywhere. Yeah. It just wasn't my thing. Wasn't personally my thing. Of course, once again, I absolutely don't like, if you like them a lot, that's absolutely okay. Hey, speaking of which, that's funny. There's Earth itself. I believe, yeah, this was Earth, because Earth came with the ship. Phileas was alone. I don't have these. I've never owned Earth or Phileas. So, like, for me, like, if I'm thinking of, like, what's something realistic that they could do, an Earth movie graphic would be, like, right up at the top of my list. Earth is one of, if I just break it down to just Godzillas, or if I break down to, like, my top 10, what I would like to see in the movie graphic line, movie graphic plus line, Earth would be, like, really close to the top. I'm not going to pretend. Earth is up there. Because now that we have 2014 and 54 revealed, we actually don't know what's next. We haven't gotten a teaser or a trailer or anything. So now we don't know what's next for this movie graphic plus line. So, like, this is where they could really go and have some fun. Right? Right. Okay. And then our last item. I don't know. I typed in Google on Google. Our very last item. He makes for a cool toy, at least. Yeah, and it was a good figure too. It was painted really well. It looks nice. It's large. It's just really expensive on the aftermarket right now. 62 is the top. Well, okay. Let's just... Sure. Sure. Thanks. Thanks, Sharktopus. Didn't even need to do it myself. Didn't even need to do it myself. Now, there is actually a reason why I think this is possible, and it's because of this right here. If you guys don't know, if you guys weren't here, this was announced kind of randomly back in 2022 and beginning of 23. This is the anniversary set. No. Was it? Was this 23? Was this 24? I feel like this was 23. Let me check. I gotta check my photos. I believe this was 23. This was a 2023 anniversary figure. I can look it up really quick. I've got a folder for all my Gigantics, so I can just go and see the day that I unboxed it. Yeah, 2023 is when this came out. And this was announced, I believe this was announced at the Godzilla Fest of 2022, because it was technically for the anniversary. So this just magically is up for pre-order on the US Godzilla site after being out of stock and unreissued for a year. Which X Plus typically does this with the Godzilla stores. They normally do reissue 1 or 2 Gigantic Series Godzilla figures. So it's not necessarily surprising that this is here. It gives people a chance to own this. I would honestly love to get this figure back in my collection. This was one of my favorite Gigantics. I love 62. I love this figure. This figure was perfect. Penultimate. There was a reason why this was my third favorite Gigantic. It was Shin, Burning, and then this guy. And sometimes Burning and this guy would flip-flop. I love this figure. I was very sad when I had to sell this. So the fact that we're getting a reissue of the X Plus, which once again isn't surprising, means that they're going to see an increased desire for 62. So maybe we could see Movie Graphic get 62 in it. It would be so. There's only gonna really be 2 options for this. I don't think we're gonna get like a decisive battle version. It's either a Movie Graphic where it's gonna be this without the beam, or it's gonna be a heat ray, or a Movie Graphic line with the blue heat ray, or with blue dorsal plates. If it's a Movie Graphic, it won't have the beam effect. And typically with how these work, if the regular version comes with a beam, the heat ray charge up version will not. So he's probably going to be one of the curse release where this is going to come out. And if we do get like a heat ray version, a charge up version, we probably won't get the beam with it. I don't want to say that's 100% guaranteed, but that typically is how it works with the beams, is if the non-heat ray version comes with a beam, when they do a heat ray version, if they ever do a heat ray version, which there's a lot of Godzillas in this line that have not gotten heat ray versions, 94, Birth, 62, 64 hasn't gotten one, stuff like that. So there would be a little bit of downside because this is a completely unique beam. This does fit basically all the Showa Godzillas, although I would like to see different beams for all the 70s Godzillas. They can use the same one for them because that's a deep blue thinner beam. If for 64, if they wanted to reissue 64 and do a new version of 64, not a reissue, excuse me, they wanted to do a 2.0, they could include this beam right here, but just make it blue. Just make it a little bit more blue rather than clear. And it works. And then it once you get the blue tint version of it, it basically works for the rest of the 60s up until probably 68. Then you could maybe change it, but yeah. This is my 5th. A lot of Godzillas on here, so basically some sort of Shin Godzilla reissue, whether it's the Night Combat version gets a reissue, like an actual like just straight reissue, or we get an orthochromatic Awakening, or a second third form anniversary set, or an ortho set that includes the second and third form, or we could get a 10th anniversary Awakening climax with more, with the accessories that the movie graphic doesn't have. My second one, the other one that I believe is very likely, is a Junior versus Destroya Evolution set anniversary, or Destroya versus Evolution anniversary set. I do think this is likely, and the fact that it was kind of on the minds of Articulation series as well probably tells me that this is probably likely, which is good because the Evolution set in it of itself really needs it. I mean, Junior as well really could use the why is Burning Godzilla not here? That's a weird choice. I think this one's Photoshop, because I think the actual promo is with Burning Godzilla. The one thing about Junior that does, this is for the Ultimate, the one thing with a Junior reissue that does scare me is that there is two different versions of Junior. We have the original release that comes with the planes, the two media helicopters, the version that I did own at one point. Oh, that is the promo. Why? I guess they was just showing off the scale, but on here, oh, there it is. So, they come with two of those, and then the special color version comes with, I believe it's a little bit lighter. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more pale, but it comes with the atomic breath effect. So hopefully, if they do an anniversary set, it would, in theory, come with both. Hopefully, and if it doesn't come with both, honestly, I would hope the beam a little bit more, because then at least it makes sense on why I might have to, once I eventually get to the point where I have to buy all three anyways, it would make at least buying one of the older versions at least a little worth it, because I'm getting something that I don't have. Biggest Bandai fumble of all time. What was Bandai's biggest fumble of all time? I don't know. But so yeah, I would assume it's probably like a anniversary set with the two fighting off against each other, kind of like this, the original one, hopefully. But they would be together, so it'd still be all three forms of Destroya, and then Junior, and then hopefully Junior would come with the planes or the beam effect, one or the other. I guess if it doesn't, then I don't know if they would do like a heat ray color plate, since those dorsal plates are just so small. I just don't know if they would do that, because even like here, they're not blue either, but the beam's there. So, but they do glow. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what that is. If not, at least it gives it gives me a reason to still buy the original two. So when I eventually get to that point where I'm comfortable, I'm at least getting new accessories out of it and not just repaints. Putting 94 instead of burning. Oh yeah, I think the reason is because so Junior came out right after Burning Godzilla. I don't think they had the burning prototype was available at the time, because they didn't even show Junior next to Burning. So yeah, just a weird choice. I do remember it now, but that was at the time where we thought these two were the same. Obviously there were changes, but we thought they were the same height, which ended up not being the case. The birth version sculpt is taller. So of course, my third choice is Godzilla 75. I think it's possible that they might do a late anniversary release. 75 makes sense because it continues. We're done with Showa releases now. We don't have any Showa pre-orders up currently. So having the next set still be movie releases, them kind of, being limited with the Showa releases, but if they're staying within movies, that kind of, it teases us and can excite us for what's coming, because if they do 75 Godzilla, that means hopefully a new Mechagodzilla and Titanosaurus. So I'm down for that. And then two very likely reissues. These both would probably end up being movie graphic plus releases. Of course, we could still get Scarlet Earth. It doesn't matter which version of Earth it is, as long as I get Earth. And then 62 would be a very welcomed reissue as well. So those are probably my top five. You know, like I said, I tried to aim a little bit more realistically. Research opposition expunged. Yeah, opposition. Research. Nice. Cool. Cool. Maybe we can do that after stream. Can might do a little bit after stream. But I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited here. Like I said, I did tone down my expectations. I personally still don't expect anything, personally, but I did things that would probably be more realistic. GMK I saw was thrown out as well by Sharktopus. GMK would also be great. 91 Ghidorah, we should be getting a Hokkaido version. I'm neutral on 74, 75, but I'd much rather have Titanosaurus than Caesar. Yeah. Which, you know, Titanosaurus and Caesar are probably unlikely, but if they're going to do this pattern of doing movies, it could be likely. So that we get Titanosaurus or Caesar, depending on, excuse me, on which version it is. So, and then yeah, GMK would probably be like a close sixth. So we'll go backwards here. We'll actually just use the articulation series. Doop. Do this. Boop. We'll go here. Bring up the two movie graphics really quick. I'll kind of summarize my thoughts on these two. And then obviously, if anyone in chat wants to sit here and talk, we've got about 20 minutes. I do have to be done right at 7. I got to get Tater out, go potty. And then by that point, Mama's going to come home, and then her and I are doing our beer runs to try to get as much Godzilla beer as I can. So hopefully we'll find all 4 tall boys and then find the 24 or 30 pack with the Godzilla art on it, hopefully. But to kind of sum up my thoughts, we'll start with 54. 54, not a necessary release. If you guys don't have any 54, or if you only have the poster color version, I would say this is probably worth it. I think this is the best looking 54. These translucent and almost like pearlescent painted dorsal plates, because it looks like there is paint in the center here, but then we know they're translucent from SDCC, because there's literally a light shining through it. I do like the look. I like the highlights. I do worry about the QC on the mouth. We already saw the display version be a little messy on the lipstick paint. So hopefully when the actual, the QC is coming out and this line is happening, hopefully we won't have that issue with the mouth, and we'll just get a really nice painted. I actually wouldn't mind if whatever this pearlescent paint is here on the side, basically the glow, if they actually expanded it a little bit. I know most people probably wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't mind. So I think this is the best looking 54 off of promos. I really like the poster color version, and I like the original release, but I really, really like this translucent, almost light up effect on the 54. So if you guys don't have a 54 or a black and white 54, and you're kind of deciding on which one would be your permanent, I would say it's probably safe to go with this guy. It's 11,000 yen. It's a general release. It's probably going to be $134 because the tariff price is built into the MSRP. For the most part, there might still be a little bit of extra added on, depending on which business it is. But Bandai is supposedly trying to eat as much of the cost as they can, because they already had to increase the retail price anyways. Gulp gulp, yes. It wasn't lipstick. Yeah, he was doing that in the bathroom. He found a good bathroom to do to drink Coca-Cola in. Yes, it was a very good bathroom to drink Coca-Cola. I can hear Tater snoring. Lazy bastard. I love him. Yeah, that new 54 is looking sweet. I might have to get one even though I have their original. And eventually I'll get their original as well. For me and my collection, that 54 is basically going to be my heat ray version, because it does look like it's charged up. It looks like it's basically the poster version, but in black and white. Moving on to 2014, I think 2014 actually will have a little bit more positivity. One, I think the paint job just looks better. Personal opinion, I think the one main body color with like a light brushing on the stomach is how I like my legendary Gojis. I didn't care for the kind of more like gray and then the light brown belly or tan belly. I don't care for that, so I don't mind that this figure doesn't have it. That doesn't upset me personally. It's basically like a nighttime combat version, you know, a San Francisco Final Battle version, Decisive Battle version. It's basically kind of the color scheme I get. You know, it's kind of why, if you've seen my comments about it, I've been saying it's a nighttime coloration because it basically looks like that. And I think this is the best looking 2014 at base, body paint wise. I will say, as we're sitting here and we're looking at the neck, I do think because of the over the years, the 2019 mold has been updated, you know, because this is basically the 2019 mold. It has been updated over the years. And you can see it here on the shoulders, they've cut away at the shoulders so the arms can actually move a little bit more. They still don't move as much as they could, and they move kind of awkwardly. But they do move more than they did with the original 2014 and original 2019 releases. But with them doing that with the 2024 release, I do feel like they shaved down this collarbone a little bit. And it does look like it might be that way on this. And it looks like something has been changed in the neck. Something is different here. I don't think it's a new sculpt, but that head is able to move way more. If we move back to, that was the poster color version, the Amazon JP exclusive. If we move back to this one and we move to the same exact pose, we're not seeing all of that on this. And I can say, having this, you know, I've had this figure in hand, I feel like it didn't even move that much, comparatively even to this promo. I feel like this is more of an angle thing than an actual articulation thing. So I do think, coincidentally, maybe unintentionally, that this figure will have a little bit more neck range and head movement because of the updates that's been slowly made to this figure throughout the years. This is a reissue line, so there technically won't be any like major mold changes. I do think this is just coincidence, and then kind of like a change of material, because this head is fully turned. That figure cannot, I don't remember the head being able to turn that much and look up like that much. So I do think it unintentionally got an upgrade. And then as long as the tail can actually hold itself up and it's actually, you know, sturdy, I think this figure still, you know, it was the original bad apple of the MonsterArts. This original release was what made people hate MonsterArts. Even to this day, a lot of it stems from this figure in this release. I'm hoping the teeth paint and the eye paint are better, although I will say, having the figure in hand, and anyone who has the figure in hand, the eyes are basically impossible to see unless you're doing close-up photography of the eyes, or you've got a lot of bright lights on it, like in a review setting. Typically, you don't end up seeing the figure's eyes. So, although I still want to stress that I would rather have Tamashii just not have eye paint problems, and at this point, 11 years after this figure's been released, it shouldn't have those issues. If it does, I don't feel like it hurts this figure as much because those eyes are just so damn small. But it's not an excuse to let them do it. I am being just a little realistic, though, and a little pessimistic. So, but hopefully it's all fixed on the retail versions. I wouldn't actually be surprised if these are actual retail copies of these figures, mainly just because they're basically just repaints, you know. So, but I'm positive on both. I'm getting both. We've got 5 people watching right now. Holy moly, y'all are awesome. The counter shading is what makes 2014 my favorite. I don't mind all black though. Yeah, and that's a personal, you know, that's a personal taste thing. Not something I expect everyone else to have, and that's absolutely a-okay if people don't share that like opinion, because, you know, we all can have different opinions. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that at all. So yeah, that's kind of it. I feel like, you know, we kind of went through, you know, we got some chat, we got some positivity for 54 and 2014, and we had a lot of good suggestions on what we might see for Godzilla Fest. Like I said, I'll be doing next week, because I have to do it next week. You know, I could do it the week of Tamashii Nations. We'll see. Within the next 2 weeks, basically, or a week and a half, I'll do my Tamashii Nations reveals Wishlist, which will be a larger stream. Well, it'll basically be like this stream, but it'll only be my wish list, but it'll include Godzilla. So we'll probably we might do like a top, well, because we're doing 3 different lines, I might keep it at 5, but they're going to be a lot, you know, kind of like just my Tamashii Nations Wishlist, my MonsterArts Wishlist stream that we did a few months ago, it'd probably be more like that with things that aren't necessarily not realistic, but like more extravagant releases because they kind of do go hard for this. So this is where I'd be like saying Orga, Kaiser Ghidorah, Titanosaurus, stuff like that. Yeah, it'll just be Kaiser Ghidorah. Yeah, our next $600 reveal. It should be two reveals. Although I will say, it'll probably be 5 Godzilla figures, and then I'll probably do a few Gamera releases. I could see them finishing off the Heisei Gamera line or getting closer. It could be 95. We could get our tease at a 95 decisive battle version and a Super Gauss, and I would not be disappointed. That would be, if and spoiler at that live stream, because those will be on the list. I'm telling you guys, Super Gauss from 95 and Gamera 95 decisive battle version, whatever they're gonna call it, those are on that Tamashii Nation's wish list. It's not only on the wish list, but they're also there because I think that's realistic. I do think that's realistic because we've basically had a Gamera release almost every single year. They did skip 2024, but that was Godzilla's anniversary. Next year is Gamera's anniversary. Okay, we'll say that for the stream, but like Showa stuff, we could start moving into Showa stuff. I do think they'll finish the Heisei stuff first though. But and then some of the crazier stuff, like stuff like that, and then we'll get into the Ultraman stuff. We'll probably do no, Gauss won't be $300 because Gauss is short. Gauss will probably be like 200. 200. Yeah. 200 for us over here in the US, probably only like 110 for Japan. So but yeah, I would probably say that Gauss would be like a near $200 figure, because if Mega Gears is 200, Gauss would probably be 200 as well. They do put a lot of effort in their Gamera figures. All the Gameras have accessories. Even the Kaiju Nemesises also have accessories, although I don't know what Gauss could really come with besides a beam. And well, I guess, and then like the cut off parts, like it loses its legs in the final battle version, or, in the final battle and stuff like that. So there are possibilities. They could also include like a cow. Like they eat a cow in the beginning. They could just throw that in with Super Gauss just for the hell of it. Hey Alex, how's it going, buddy? KD, yeah, hi. Heisei Gauss is like right up there. Right up there. Now that the Gamera line is basically done for the Heisei trilogy, like Gauss has like just gone up and up and up. So, but it's also Showa Gamera's anniversary next year, so, or this year, so we could see. I said next year earlier. I meant this year, so we could see Showa as well. Giant Condor, yeah, that was a comment Sharktopus also made. As a joke, they could do a MonsterArts Giant Condor. That would be fucking hilarious. But I will say the Bandai isn't perfect. I will probably be buying the Bandai. We'll decide that on the stream later tomorrow night. Speaking of the stream tomorrow night, let's just bring this up right here. Just get this up to the screen. But we do, it would be funny. It would be funny. Giant Condor, man, the Fires of Hate. Yeah, the sculpt is good besides the head, but it definitely looks like they made that figure out of hate. So, maybe we can get Giant Condor on the MonsterArts voting poll, and we can get Giant Condor voted as the #1 most wanted MonsterArts. I feel like even MonsterArts haters would pile in on that, because I feel like people that don't buy Movie Monster Series figures or don't care for Movie Monster Series still came in and voted for Giant Condor just because it was a community thing. So if MonsterArts were to do that as a joke, I feel like even the MonsterArts haters would go in on that as well, and I think that would be funny. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, guys. I'm pretty excited. But yeah, we'll do the Tamashii Nations. Like I said, Godzilla and the Gamera stuff will be included in there. And then, so I won't do it like a top 5, but I might do like a top 3 Gamera. So it would be top 5 Godzilla stuff. And that'll include Godzilla and the Kaijus. And then a top 3 Gamera, which 2 of the 3 have already, well, 3 of 3 are basically revealed. So not really any big spoilers. And then we'll probably do 10 Ultraman, a wish list, 5 Ultraman. Well, probably not actually. We'll probably do maybe 7. Maybe 7. And it's probably mostly going to be kaiju because I think there's like 15 or 16 Ultramen that haven't been done yet, which Saga just helped, just bring that number down a little bit. Although Omega is helping it with new forms, there is a wish list for the Ultraman stuff as well. So probably we're going to end up be mostly like antagonists, like aliens and the kaiju, or Seijin and kaiju, but we'll see. And then I might do like a little bonus, like 3 Dragon Ball figures, or 4 Dragon Balls, or 5 Dragon Ball figures for the 3.0 molds. Mainly just because I want to see Super Saiyan 3, Blue and God, UI, stuff like that. So I'll actually make a list for that though. But Super Saiyan 3 is probably on there. So Bandai rolled their eyes and was not happy making this. I'm so glad we voted for the figure to be made. We have power. It does show that we do. I would love it as well. I would love MonsterArts to eventually get everything. So if Movie Monster Series can get everything, MonsterArts in theory should be able to, but it's probably going to take, just about as long as Godzilla's been around, like 30-40 years, because we are next year we're closer to 20 years of SH MonsterArts than we are 10 years of MonsterArts. So just saying. And I actually, some people might not agree with this, I actually think this last decade, like we're just looking at the last 4 years, not including next year as the 5th, I think this decade from 21 to 31 has overall so far been better than the last decade. MonsterArts bagging and Super Godzilla. Bagging would be so crazy. Super Godzilla as well. Those would be nuts. World wants Skeleturtle next. I could see it. Because now they know. See, what I think they're going to turn around and do, they're going to start giving us more of these P Bandais, and they're going to start doing these weird kaijus, though. So we're going to get like Skeleturtle, but it's going to be a P Bandai. All right, Americans. We're not going to put it on the P Bandai site, so you have to spend $60 on this Skeleturtle. And people are going to do it. And I don't blame them. So, I just wanted to point this out before we get to the end of the stream. Oh, God, yeah, it's 58. So we need... Well, my PC says it's 58. It's only 47, actually. They've put out some great figures. G2K and Gears. Yeah, MonsterArts has been, like, on a high roll. Like, even the reissues, I think, have been really strong. They've chosen really good targets. Obviously, there's some that still need to be done, but Mecha King Ghidorah finally getting a second figure was amazing. Space Godzilla getting a release with an actual, like, updated chest, piece. Night Combat Shin, I think, is the definitive base Shin. And I think this movie Graphic Awakening is basically its partner, and it's going to look fine. I would honestly hope if they do a second and a third form, if we could get like those translucent as well, because there's a, when second is evolving into third, right when the third form comes out, it kind of glows initially and then it mats out. So I wouldn't mind a translucent version of each one of these, but I would also like to see ortho versions of them as well, because I'm a colorway fiend, so I want every kaiju to have representation, even if it's just like a colorway difference, So I'm one thing I didn't bring up, minus color heat ray version. I think they could do and just do translucent like white or gray dorsal plates, and then just do that kind of like pearlescent like Christmas spackle spray, kind of like the 54. I want to pick up the new 95 and 84. I think the best way to get them is going to be BBTS or Showcase Daikaiju or Beast. If they get them, Beast should get them. Probably actually Showcase and Beast would probably be the two I would go to first. They should be cheaper than BBTS. Obviously they're not going to be as cheap as if you could buy it in Japan, but you have to use Zen Market to import it anyway, so you're going to be paying tariffs and handling fees. So yeah, thoughts on the Super 7 Shin? They have to do. I'm curious. I'm interested to see if that's an ultimate or if it's a reaction. It doesn't matter. I found it out in the middle of the stream. Adam sent it to me like right at the beginning. Came into the stream, commented a few times, and then had to bounce, and then didn't mention it. So then I checked it at a point that I was messing with something on stream and saw it, and then we talked about it a little bit. I'm buying it. It's Shin. It's coming out for the 10th anniversary. So the only thing that I'm not crazy about is that they did add a little bit of emotion to him. He looks cranky because the eyes are really forward, and then he almost has like a snarl. I'm not crazy about that. I am kind of partial to my Shin Godzilla being emotionless, but I'm more than willing to see it and seeing the full reveal first and getting it in hand and then having thoughts. So I do think it looks cool, and the stylization that is in there, I think once I see a little bit more of it, I'm probably actually going to end up warming up to it pretty thickly. I think it's going to be a cool figure regardless of what it is, because I do like the thicker teeth on it. I think that looks really cool. It's very like 90s 80s, like the muscle sharks. What are those called? The sharks with the muscles, and they had a dinosaur version of them too. I remember them as a kid. The dino somethings. They kind of have that vibe where they have the very cartoonish, just like shark teeth, and I do kind of like that on Shin, on that Super 7 mold. So the more photos I see of the Mega House -1, I want it. Shin must be emotionless, or he must be smiling adorably. That is true. Or crying out in pain. I don't mind people giving those super exaggerated, like roaring poses and sculpts, if it at least makes it look like Shin's in pain. Whether it's the climax, split jaw, or if it's the roaring version. I don't mind my Shin looking like it's in pain, because that's the only feeling he gets in the movie is pain. It's pain and then emotionless, and that's it. So, but I don't mind adding extra in. I'm just cautious of it, But I'll 100% give Super 7 a chance on this Shin. I've been saying that since Super 7, was announced, and I decided I wasn't going to be buying their ultimates and stuff. That regardless, I will be buying their Shin. I'll be buying their Shin React. I'll be buying their Shin Ultimate, if they do one, if that's what that is, which it probably is. It's a more detailed sculpt, but hey, you never know. Their newer Reacts have been kind of looking a little bit more less chibi and retro and a little bit more modern, so it could be a React. To which case I'll be buying every version that I can. So if they do a carded version, an Awakening version, I'll be buying those. And then if they do like a mystery box version, like if they do one like the -1 wave where it's just that one sculpt, or at least the Shin Godzilla sculpt, I would be doing. I'll try to get all the colorways. We'll do an unboxing gotcha stream on that. He did look annoyed to me when he got woken up by the trains. I mean, he does get like a little bit, but just going off of what Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi have gone off of, that he's supposed to be emotionless besides pain. Oh yeah, seeing the eyes forward is weird. Reminds me of the NECA. Yeah, the teeth look cool. He has like a Godzilla 2000 look, where 2000, like, most people want the eyes like forward, but then then other angles, like, it doesn't look quite as good. Like, you have to do a full like mug shot, because here, like, obviously the eye has been moved back a little bit, which is what the MonsterArts has, where the eyes are a little bit more out, so you do get all angles that you can take photos of besides like directly on, but then it looks pretty good besides like a mug shot straight from the side. But I'm just kind of now rambling. I'm excited for the Super 7 Shin. I don't know why I didn't assume that. I've kind of just been MonsterArts locked. I'm trying to get caught up on MonsterArts this year, so then next year when there's a lot of Shin stuff, especially when I go to Japan, I can kind of focus those things and then not have to worry about MonsterArts. And now that we know that the Japanese release of Godzilla 2014 is in May and not April, that means I don't know if I actually, when I'm in Japan, if I'll actually be able to get a MonsterArts on release day. Because if you guys didn't know, when there's Tamashii web shop exclusives, so like Mega Gearus, those aren't sold in stores. Like, those aren't retail sold in stores. Stores do get them at an upcharge, but they typically, like, that's where I would have to go to, like, Mondarake's or the secondhand side of Ami Ami, like, in store. Those aren't going to be like, Mega Gears isn't going to be in a store. So, like, if I were to go to Japan in March, I wouldn't be able to go to a retail store like the Godzilla store and just, well, actually, maybe the web shops might be for the Godzilla store. So maybe the fact is, I don't know what's coming out in July anymore for MonsterArts in Japan. So whenever we get our July announcement, if there's a July announcement, and there might be a chance where this year we don't have a July release, that would make me cry. But if that's the chance, then I won't be getting a new MonsterArts the day of. Whatever comes out, though, hopefully a movie graphic. I feel like they're going to be pushing these movie graphic plus releases. In fact, I think there might be some months, not even, putting in US release and Japan release. I think Japanese release dates, we might be getting two, maybe once or twice a year, where it's a movie graphic plus and something else, more than likely a web shop. They typically don't do two general releases at the same time, especially not anymore, because they just have so many products between all the brands. But okay, I'm rambling. That's basically the stream. That's the idea of the stream. I don't expect a Tamashii reveal, but if there is, if it's a Junior versus Destroy Evolution anniversary set, Shin Godzilla 10th anniversary, 70th anniversary set or release, or a reissue of the Night Combat, 75 Godzilla, and Earth or 62 movie graphic plus relief or GMK, would be super, super cool. And I think within the realm of realism. Otherwise, Tamashii Nations 2025, in 2 weeks or a week and a half. In 2 weeks, because it'll literally be halfway through the event. Which I should also be live on, because we should start seeing those the night. Well, no, it's on the 14th. So I'll be at work when we start seeing these reveals. So you guys will see posts, and then just kind of like this stream, we'll get a reaction stream on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, depending on my availability and my girlfriend's work schedule. We'll be seeing a live stream with a reaction to MonsterArts, Gauss 95, and Gamera 95 Decisive Battle reissue, or something like that. So, something like that, because the reveals are more than likely going to be at Tamashii Nations rather than Godzilla Fest, but they might tease something early, because the Tamashii event is a week earlier. Last year it was in the early 20s or even the late 20s, where this is here, so they could tease something earlier. I hope the color would be the Nanoblade version. White Nails is gunmetal gray. They could do that. They could do like a special like poster Nanoblade version. They could do that. I just think we might get like a heat ray version, since we have the heat ray already. So they would try to do a heat ray paint job dorsal plate. That way it's like, oh, now if you have the original version with the heat ray, but it annoyed you that you had to go in and edit the dorsal plates, here's the heat ray version, and it won't come with a heat ray because the original one did, something like that. So, or if it's a movie graphic plus, it definitely won't have the heat ray, because those don't have accessories at all, zero, besides the graphic, the poster graphic. So that is about it, everyone. It is basically 7 o'clock, so I need to go. I got to get Tater outside, go potty before Mama gets home, so we can go do our PBR run, try to get as much Godzilla PBRs as we can for the stream tomorrow. I would like to have plenty, just in case. So I want to take a second. I want to thank everyone who's watched the stream. Thank you guys. I think we're at 6 for a moment. Thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. I really, really do appreciate it. I want to thank everyone in chat as well. Sans, my lovely partner in crime, Larissa, thank you for joining. Sans, Jody, thanks for coming in and saying hi. Adam of Thirsty Thursday Toys, thank you so much, buddy. Sharktopus, KD, Alex as well, thank you guys so much. I'm making sure I'm not missing anyone. I thought there was one other comment. Someone came in quick. I do not see. Oh, Kevin, actually, Kevin right here at the end. Hi, Kevin. Sorry, the stream is ending, but the stream will be available to rewatch if you want to go back. I am going to try to, hopefully tonight when I get back in from, our PBR run, to timestamp things for people. So if someone just wants to see the graphic reveals or the wish list, you guys can just skip right ahead to that. Or if you want to watch the whole thing, you're welcome to as well, or just skipping through, kind of getting highlights. But I appreciate everyone for joining the stream and hanging out. Once again, remember, we will be live in 26 hours. If you guys haven't yet, I do ask that you guys hit that notification bell on this stream. It is going to be crazy. 26 hours away, an hour and 40, technically 25 hours and 40 minutes is where we're at for the Godzilla Fest stream. Be there. Try to be there for at least the beginning. If you can't make the whole thing, that's completely understandable. This is going to be a few hours. Try to be in it at the beginning. I'm going early to give people not only time to get in, but I am going to go through all of the rules. I'm going to try to get through like all of the drinking rules, light goals, all of that stuff. We're going to try to get it all explained before the actual Godzilla Fest live stream starts. That way we can actually just talk about the stream and the fest and, just the fun of it all. So hit a notification bell, 8:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will see you guys in a little over 24 hours for this. If anything else happens, expect I'll leave a post on the channel. Sharktopus won't be square. I don't quite know what that means. Oh, won't be there? Or won't be square? I'm guessing it won't be there, but you're using square as like a pun, which is funny. Hopefully you can make it. If not, that's a-okay. The stream will be available as long as it doesn't get copyrighted. Although I will be recording it, so if I have to go and cut out copyright pieces and do like a highlight stream, which I'm kind of thinking about doing. I think I'm going to do a drinks video where it's basically every drink that we do, and then like it's either going to be that or I will be there. Oh, sweet. Cool. We'll see you there. We'll be doing like a drink stream or like a highlight reel of all like the big reveals. Like if, there's some cheering and stuff and crazy stuff. If I don't get copyrighted on the short, the short will probably be there too. Cause I'm probably going to squeal a little bit when Burning 2000, happens. So, and any other surprises, but that is it, everyone. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you in about 24 hours. Take care, everyone. Thanks again for supporting the channel. See you later. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.